Basically, this is just adding tequila to it. So it's like, okay, you don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah, Robert's in his happy place.
Yeah, that's right. Quickly.
Hello, and welcome to the Rose and Rockstar from the Rockstar CMO effing marketing podcast and the Marketing Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ian Truscott. I'm not a rockstar, but I am a CMO and managing partner at Velocity B. It's Saturday the 9th of August, and in a moment I will join my chum and Chief Troublemaker at 7th Bear, Robert Rose, in our virtual bar, the Rose and Rockstar, where over one of his fabulous cocktails, I pick his brains on a marketing topic that is top of mind for me. This week we have a fun topic. Yes, we talk about the impact of AI on our content, but over a refreshing cocktail, we discover more about Robert's latest content marketing strategy, the Mullet. But first, we need to pay the bar tab. I'll be back in a moment.
We'll be right back after this word.
We'll be right back.
After this word.
Are you tired of juggling multiple software tools to manage your agency? Say hello to Deltek Workbook, the ultimate solution for marketing and communication agencies. With Workbook, you can streamline your projects, resources, and finances all in one place. Imagine real-time dashboards and reports giving you full visibility into your projects, people, and financials. Plan your team's capacity weeks in advance to avoid bottlenecks while staying on budget to maximize project margins. Plus, Workbook works perfectly for both agencies and in-house marketing teams looking to boost efficiency and profitability. And here's the best part. At PCI, we're a certified Deltek partner and reseller offering expert implementation, integrations, and ongoing support to ensure your success. Want to see how Deltek Workbook can transform your operations? For a free consultation, visit pci.us/podcast today. That's pci.us/podcast.
When it comes to relevant content, you may have heard Jeff and me talk about the multis on this show. Multi-channel, multi-device, multi-persona, and multi-language. On that last one, let me ask, how confident are you that your content actually connects in every market? You're not sure? Well, it might be time to check out Phrase. In our experience, this stuff used to be hard, but Phrase makes it simple with its industry-leading AI localization platform that helps you deliver content in multiple languages without losing your tone, your message, or your mind. It automates the manual work, slashes review time, and gives you real data on what's working and where. Brands like Uber and Zendesk trust Phrase to scale their content across the globe and get it right every time. If you're serious about reaching more people and driving better results internationally, head over to phrase.com/MPN and take a look. That's phrase.com/MPN.
Hello, my friend. Welcome to the bar.
Thank you very much, mate. And how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hotter than blazes here, but it is August, so I suppose that's something, right? Yeah. So
you've been on the East Coast too. Was it
I
hotter
have
than
been
blazes
visiting,
there?
yes.
Or yeah.
I was visiting in New York, and so basically have spent the last part of this week, or the first part of this week, I should say, in New York. And it's August in New York. There's a particular, let's call it odor that New York has this time of year. And so it's always enjoyable. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Well, I'd heard that the odor a lot of the time now, because didn't they legalize marijuana, and that's now the odor.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember when I was working in New York, and I was based in Times Square, and there was one August day where it was, as you say, hotter than whatever you say is hot. And we were in the Viacom building, which is right there in Times Square. And I walked out, and they were having some sort of yoga marathon in Times Square, and you looked up and down Broadway, and as far as the eye could see, and I've got photos of this, there are people doing yoga in 100-fucking-degree heat in New York. Whenever you walked out that building, you never knew what you were going to see. It was amazing.
Nice.
It's New York for you, isn't it?
Yeah,
Anyway.
that is New York, right? That's the quintessential. That's a quintessential, and also for whatever reason, this week New York is always under construction. It's like one of those things. There's the famous saying that basically New York will be great once they finish it. But it seems particularly under construction right now. Like there is so much construction happening all over the city.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, we're sheltering from the construction in the bar here. What are we going to be drinking?
Well, we're having something called a batanga, which is a drink that I've discovered just recently. I don't know why. It's a very simple drink and seems to be very common, but I've only just this summer discovered it. And it's basically, probably it's because I stopped drinking Coca-Cola a number of years ago, so I haven't really paid attention to soft drinks that much. But this is worth splurging and having a Coca-Cola on. So it's very simple to make. It's basically, so you have a salt-rimmed glass because it's tequila after all. And then you're going to have a little bit of whatever, 1 1/2 parts or 2 parts or whatever you like of a Blanco tequila. It needs to be sort of a Blanco or a silver, basically something that doesn't have a bigness to it. And so then you're going to add in the rest to your highball glasses, whatever, 4 ounces of whatever your favorite cola soft drink is. And I went with Coca-Cola only because it's a classic. And basically then a little bit of lime juice in there. And you have what's called a batanga. And it is, apparently it was invented in the 1960s. And so it's stout in appearance is what it means in Spanish. So there you go. And it's a delicious summer cocktail.
That sounds fabulous. I actually noticed when I was doing the edit last week, every ingredient you said on the drink, on the drink, I was going, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I need to shut the fuck up when somebody's speaking on my podcast. You'd think I'd know that by now after 5 years, right?
It's okay.
So I was trying not to, but yeah, I love that. Tequila and a bit of cola and some lime juice. I mean, I love a bit of lime juice in anything, so that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I used to drink Coca-Cola and lime all the time.
Really?
And loved it. And then basically this is just adding tequila to it. So it's like, okay, you don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah, Robert's in his happy place.
Yeah, that's right. Quickly.
Fantastic. Well, anyway, so my question for you this week in the bar is, and I think it's a fun one because a couple of weeks ago, we're always talking about your podcast on the show, and for anybody who's never listened to us speak before, This Old Marketing podcast, which is published every Friday, you did a special on your own, and you were talking about content strategy, as you do from time to time, and you came up with the Mullet content strategy, and I thought, I got to ask you about that. So tell me about the Mullet content strategy.
Okay, fine. It came about, and so okay, where to start? This all came about because as I've been digging more and more into this whole answer engine optimization thing, what I started to realize is it's a very nuanced conversation, but basically it's a different conversation from search engine optimization. So if you start to think about it for a moment, you go, okay, what is it that we want to make available, right? So if you look at it from the lens of classic search engine optimization, you wanted to make everything available. And the reason you wanted to make everything available, whether it was your FAQs or whether it was about your business or whether it was about your thought leadership or covering every question your customer may ask and providing all that content, was because when you would search for it and you would rank for it, what ostensibly the search engine was doing was spitting your words back out at you, right? In other words, it was a link to your website plus your words as you wrote them, either in a extended meta tag or in the first 50, words of your particular website or whatever it was, right? So, but it was what you wrote was getting spit back. And if people clicked on it, they were ostensibly saying, I engage with what it is you said, and therefore I want to engage deeper with what it is you said. And so you have that in your mind and you go, great. So now we go to answer engine optimizations, whether it's Google search AI or whether it's in the middle of ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever it is. And in most cases there, it's not your words being spat back out. It is what is being interpreted as your words being spat back out. In other words, it's what you're teaching the AI about your content that is actually getting spat back out. And so I've talked about in other articles and things that I've written about, it may not be something that we want to make available. Like we've gone down this road with search, and we sort of, went through the whole Kubler-Ross anger, denial, bargaining, acceptance idea of, okay, they're going to scrape our content and somehow this is supposed to be good for us. So this is my life now. And so, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And so we finally came to that conclusion and sort of are working within the system that there is. And so AI is now coming along, and we're sort of immediately pell-mell running down the thing. But it's like, do I really want my content to inform the AI engine? Because in a zero-click world, it's like, okay, there is no benefit for me, right? Being cited along 4 other people in answering a question, either I get credit for the answer and basically people go, wow, that's fantastic, and get the answer that they're looking for and never do anything about it. Or I get cited for an answer that's incorrect alongside 2 other people who answered it incorrectly, even though I answered it correctly. Or in some cases, yes, there is some value there because it's a low funnel thing and somebody searched for the best Mexican restaurant in LA and I happen to be cited as one of them, and yay for me. So it's a very bottom of the funnel idea.
Yeah.
So it's not always a straightforward answer to say, I want my stuff in there. So you start asking yourself, okay, it's a different kind of content strategy then. What is it? Well, okay, that I think remains a little bit to be seen, but ostensibly what we want to do is teach the AI enough to answer the question to intrigue people to want to seek us out.
Right.
So now the answer to that, like how do you do that, is I think a work in progress for everybody.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets to the sort of mullet content strategy is one, it changes the nature of the metadata and how we tag content, because not only do we want to tag it structurally like we did for Google of old, where we let people know what's a title, what's an abstract, what's a heading, what's a subheading, and so on and so forth. And additionally, what are the keywords explicitly that this should try and rank for? What's the point? So structurally tagging it. But we now also want to semantically tag it. In other words, we want to help the AI understand our point of view about this particular article, because we may write it in a way that is only meant to intrigue people enough to click on it. Right. So we want to help. Hey, this is going to be an answer about this, or this is going to be that, or here's what you should take from this as meta tagging, so that when AI scrapes it, they're scraping the intent, but not necessarily giving that away. And so that's the difference. It's sort of this, as I said, maybe too cutely in the thing, it's sort of this business up front and sort of meaning in the back, right? So you're sort of, it's sort of like emotions and intent and all the soft skills in the back, and really business up front. So it becomes the mullet content strategy. There you go.
Right. And this is something we've been talking about a little bit, right? And some people are calling this GEO, aren't they? This generative engine optimization, whatever they want to call it. And then some people want to stick to SEO because they think SEO's term covers it all, just so that I can get the acronyms out. But this is the idea that you've been talking about, and also we've discussed on the show, which is how much we want to reveal of our content to these engines, right? Is that's what you're saying? Is somehow share some things with it, and then somehow block access to the good stuff. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, so there's so much. It's fascinating to me that the zeitgeist right now is that everybody seems to be going, you've got to get everything in there now, right?
Yes.
So that you're quote unquote going to get cited. To me, I go, okay, well, first of all, every search is personalized, right? So every AI search you're doing, even by the way, even in repeat, like you can do this today. You go to Perplexity or you go to ChatGPT, and you change one word of your search query and you'll get entirely different answers in terms of the answer to the question. And it all depends on how you ask the question, but then it doesn't even repeat. So you could ask the question the same way and you get more answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if I say, what's the best CRM system on the planet? Well, ChatGPT will come back with some cited answers for me. And if I say, is that really the best CRM on the planet? ChatGPT will go, oh no, let me find you some others. And it'll do others, right? So that level of ephemerality, if that's the right way to even say it, about what the search results is going to be, indicates that there's no rush here. In other words, there's no rush for us to get into here because honestly, it's going to be fresh content that will win the day. So we should just take a beat and think it through in terms of how do we want to start thinking about structuring our content going forward so that we don't inadvertently, once again, for the 11th time in 25 years, build somebody else's business model on the back of our content. And so that's the only thing I've been advising is sort of, let's take a beat and think about this for a minute before we rush pell-mell into creating a bunch of AI slop that tries to answer every question in a commoditized way that gets us cited for shit that we don't want to get cited for.
Yeah. Well, there's a few. And one of the things I came across this week is the potential, and I think this is related, is at the moment, people probably think there's a quid pro quo, right? I've got access to all these tools. It's accessing my content. It's all super and lovely. But as you say, they're building a business on top of this. And there's a view at the moment, which is that the prices that they're charging for AI access at the moment are way too low for the cost, for what it's costing them to actually do the compute. So at some point, they're going to have to put their prices up in order to make these profitable businesses. And I heard this mentioned on another podcast called What's Broken in Go-to-Market and How to Fix It, just so that if Simon, who's from that podcast, is listening to me now. And it was a bit like LinkedIn. LinkedIn just kind of made everything free and it was all wonderful and there's a golden age and we all joined and then they started monetizing all the features. And so I think related to what you're saying is it's no longer going to be an equal relationship with these Gen AI engines in that we're giving them content and we're getting value back. We're going to have to pay for that, right?
Of course.
Does that relate? Yeah.
100% yes. I mean, and that's the lesson we hopefully should have learned coming out of the world of Google. And then, 10 years, we were supposed to learn that lesson in 2003, 2004 with Google, and we didn't. And then we were supposed to learn it again when Facebook came out and told us to build our websites on Facebook because websites were going to become obsolete and all you needed was a Facebook page because your customers could find you there. And of course, we didn't learn that lesson either. And so we continue to not learn the lesson that, of course, if you look around and can't figure out who the product is, it's you. And so we at some point it is foolhardy to not believe that they're not going to allow us to pay for priority. And there's some interesting things happening on the other side too, like, something that's not getting very well covered at all, but I think is fascinating is where the Cloudflare CEO said they're going to be introducing technology that basically allows you to put in a paywall for just AI scrapers, right? Where you can say, okay, yes, the AI scraper can have this content, but has to pay for it. And, that may not be terribly useful for someone like you or me, which, your content is worth, what you pay for it, basically. But for someone like a publisher, like a newspaper, like a New York Times or somebody like that, that's a really interesting gambit to say, okay, I can let AI source me as a source, but they're also going to pay for that privilege. And so there are some interesting things happening there, but I think it would be foolhardy not to think that, like all these new things that are coming out now, the measurement tools from Adobe and all these things that are saying, hey, you can see how you're doing in ranking for your competitors vis-a-vis search. It's like, that snapshot is good today at the time you took it, and it's already out of date by the time the day ends. And so it's at some point they have to your point, to go, if you want to stick around and be the cited source, all you got to do is float us a few bucks.
Absolutely.
Which, of course, then does the exact same thing to search.
Yeah.
That paying for search gave us, which was basically once you figure out a way to game the system, well, now you're not getting the best content in search. And so you're not going to get the best answers. You're going to get the highest bidded answer.
Yeah. No, that'll be seen, especially Google, right? Because they're disrupting their own model with their own AI answers. So they're going to have to start charging somebody for that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So and I think that is honestly the only reason we haven't seen that yet, because I think they still need to work out that problem, because trust in the answer is already low, right? Because of hallucinations and what's going on with the current state of generative AI. And so introducing another thing that could reduce trust in the system as a whole, such as paid placement, will only hasten the decrease of trust. So I think that's the only reason we haven't seen it in mass yet, is because honestly, they don't want to risk people not trusting the answer.
Yeah, well, I had an example of hallucination the other day, which was interesting, because you hear a lot of people talking about this stuff. And then, so I use the term FOFU a lot, fear of fucking up, right? And it comes from fear of messing up, I think, and it's kind of comes from the Jolt Effect book and all that kind of stuff. So it's something that I say that I don't hear a lot of other people say. And then I saw on LinkedIn somebody did a post, and it was like a poster, and it said, fighting FOFU, and I thought, well, I'm going to find out who's using this term and who was the original person to say it and all that kind of stuff. Not that I wanted to lay claim to it. I just thought, if I'm going to use it in future, I better do the attribution. And so I asked it, and it said it was, who's that guy that runs Velocity Partners? Doug.
Doug
Hessler. Yeah. So it said it was him. He talks about it in this research that he did, and in this piece he did. So I went and looked at it. There's no mention in there at all. And so then I went back to ChatGPT and said, "Did he really? Where? Can you show me?" And he goes, and it said, "Oh no, he just said things like that." I'm like, for fuck's sake, you know what I mean? I'm having a conversation, and it hallucinated, and then it admitted it, and it was like, it was really weird, I thought. Anyway, that was my little hallucination story. So, anyway,
yeah. That's the thing, right? I find this all the time when I go ask AI for something, and you get an answer, and the answer is like really good, right? I mean, or it looks really good, and you're like, that's the answer I want to include in my paper or my post or whatever.
Yeah,
and you're like, okay, let's go look at source number 1. Doesn't ever say anything around that. Let's go look at source number 2. Doesn't ever say anything about that. Source number 3 says something about it, but maybe halfway or half-assed sort of addresses it. And and you're like, so what the AI has done, as it is designed to do, is combine all of that and put the most probable, like, what's the most probable right answer to this question?
Yeah.
And it's this. So the answer is actually quite good, but you can't cite that because you can't. You can't cite, it's like, and so it becomes a ridiculous game where, the hallucination, quote unquote, might actually be accurate. Like, you might be able to drink water from that false oasis, right? But it doesn't make it any more nutritious.
No, and you can't attribute to it. Like you said, it's like, basically what it was saying is, this sounds like something that maybe Doug Kessler would say. And it's like, yeah, but he didn't. So it's quite funny. All right. So, when we're looking for content that isn't a hallucination, where are we going to find that, my friend?
You're going to find that on my, where are you going to find it? I don't know. I mean, all over the place, really. But my new website, robertrose.net, is up and running, and I'm going to be adding a bunch of stuff there to sell my books through that and all that kind of stuff. So by the time this reads, you won't be able to buy anything, but you will be able to read stuff, including my newsletter, which I talk about like this stuff a lot.
Yeah, fantastic. And in a couple of weeks, we will actually be talking about your book, won't we? So what's the title? What's the title?
What? I'm sorry, I missed that.
What's the title of your book?
It's called Valuable Friction. Yeah, the book is called Valuable Friction, and it's all about how I think we're in a place in history where we may be invited to actually slow down and introduce more thoughtfulness into our processes, into our lives, rather than being so absolutely obsessed with speed as a founding culture and value of business.
Nice. I like it. All right. And we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks' time. And in the meantime, when people spin the dial on the interwebs, where are they going to find you, mate?
They'll find me on LinkedIn primarily. That's where I'm, yeah.
And will I find you in the bar next week?
Of course you will.
I look forward to it, my friend. I'll see you then. Thank you, Robert. I love that mullet analogy. And in our conversation, I fumbled around a reference to the podcast What's Broken in GTM and How to Fix It by my chum, Simon Daniels, who's been a guest on the show, and his colleague, Louis Fernandez. And I will include a link to that in the show notes. So that's a wrap on our visit to the Rose and Rockstar. Thank you for putting a dime into your podcasting jukebox, selecting our track and jiving along with us. And of course, you can find all the links to the things we discussed in the show notes on rockstarcmo.com, where you can also find links to our newsletter, blog, previous episodes, and all the things. Coming up this week, Jeff is back on Wednesday after his long vacation, and Robert will be back in the bar on Saturday. In the meantime, as Beth Comstock, former CMO at GE, once said, you can't sell anything if you can't tell anything.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Robbie Samuels hosts the On the Schmooze podcast. Robbie, tell listeners what to expect from the show.
Since 2015, I've interviewed entrepreneurs who overcame challenges to achieve success in their field or industry. Tune in to On the Schmooze to listen as I ask deep questions to elicit untold stories about leadership and networking.
And where can people subscribe?
Find the show at ontheschmooze.com or on marketingpodcast.net, or just search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard them. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.